What's going on YouTube? JAT is Reborn here, and welcome back to another Godzilla and Kong related video. Today we're going to be talking about the box office for Godzilla Kong The New Empire. Haven't actually done one of these box office related videos in a while, but I saw the movie was doing pretty well, and I felt like it was a good time to talk about it. So, last weekend, we just had this previous weekend, the Easter weekend, Godzilla Kong The New Empire opened up to the biggest worldwide opening of the year. In terms of domestic, it was slightly under Dune Part 2, but overall worldwide it had the bigger opening, if you will. So like I said, very good sign for the film, also good sign for Dune, pretty much for Legendary Pictures and WB at the moment, because between Godzilla Kong The New Empire and Dune Part 2, they're doing quite well, I should say. So, like I said, good things are coming for both series, if you will. So, we can kind of look at this article here from Deadline. I'll kind of go back to like its original stuff, see where it ranks in terms of the franchise, see how it's tracking, and where we think it may end up. So, like I said, the film's current box office is listed at about $361 million total. You can look at Box Office Mojo right here. I also have the numbers broken down right here. The numbers are really good sites. The only site I know of that has the domestic video sales kind of incorporated into it as well. You can kind of see where the franchise is at in terms of that, and you kind of see the summary of like where the movie's tracking. So Godzilla Kong The New Empire has already passed the entire domestic grosses of Godzilla King of the Monsters and Godzilla vs. Kong. Now, we have an asterisk for Godzilla vs. Kong because that came out during COVID times, and that one was released day and date on HBO Max, and theaters were still at 25% capacity. So the fact that that movie still made more than King of the Monsters is insane. And this is coming from somebody whose favorite film in the Monsterverse is King of the Monsters, but man, this film was just crushing all sorts of expectations. I assume within the next 2 weeks it'll pass the entire worldwide grossing of Godzilla vs. Kong, and you know, if it gets past 561 million, it'll officially have passed Kong Skull Island as the biggest film in the Monsterverse. I think it has a really strong chance to do it. I think it has a strong chance to get over 600 million, but we're just going to have to kind of wait and see how the legs are for this film. So, I mean, what a success so far for this movie, and it still has yet to open up in Japan and I think a few Middle Eastern countries as well. And this one supposedly has the lowest budget right here, according to Deadline. So let's kind of look back to where it was initially projected at. So this is, like I said, written before the film came out right here. Initially projected to a $135 million global opening, and then it just blew away expectations by nearly $60 million. So that's a really good, strong start. And this film supposedly had the lowest budget of $135 million, which is kind of insane for me to think about, given there's more monster action and so many sequences are all focused on the nonverbal storytelling with the creatures, and the fact that it has the lowest budget, like, it just leaves me scratching my head, like, how? There's so much more monster stuff on screen, yet the budget is considerably lower than some of the other Monsterverse stuff. So I don't know, maybe it's because it's more Hollow Earth VFX stuff, or they're just kind of smarter spending with their money. I mean, look at the creator. That's what, like a $70 million movie. It looks better than most $200+ million movies. So really, really impressive stuff for the film. So like I said, initially projected from the $135 million global opening to kind of blowing away expectations Easter weekend with $194 million. Like I said, nobody really expected this movie to do as well as it's doing right now, but it's doing really good right now. So, I mean, is it the biggest blockbuster ever? No, not all time or anything like that. But for the Monsterverse, this is like, it's on the rise right now. I mean, positive word of mouth from audiences. I mean, the Saturday box office grosses, I think, actually went up. Yes, it dropped like 60% like weekend over weekend, but like that's not like the worst possible hold for a summer or for a typical, that's kind of a typical blockbuster movie hold. But another thing I kind of will look at too is where its Saturday grosses kind of went, because Friday it was about like 8 million, then Saturday it actually jumped up like an additional 5 million, which I thought was kind of interesting. Sunday it went down, but still kind of more than Friday, but the fact that it's still kind of jumping up tells me that this is like the day like most families are kind of taking their kids to see the movie and all that too. They're having a good time, it's fun, it's over the top, it's pretty like ridiculous in a lot of ways, but like I said, in terms of the Monsterverse films, it's the one I've had the most fun with so far. But with its box office gross currently at 361 million worldwide, by next weekend it'll most certainly pass the entire grossing of Godzilla King of the Monsters. Like it'll probably most likely hit over $400+ million by next week, and then probably by the following week after that it'll surpass Godzilla vs. Kong. It maybe even has a chance to pass the entire grossing of King of the Monsters and Godzilla vs. Kong, depending how like much it opens up in some other territories and how its weekly grosses are going to kind of continue to hold over the course of like the next week or so. But like I said, I do think a strong possibility it could potentially pass Godzilla vs. Kong. If not this weekend, let's for sure pass it the following weekend, because I mean, in terms of like upcoming releases, we kind of look at the calendar for right now in terms of April. We're about April 8th right now. I mean, there's really not much else. Sting, pretty good horror film I saw, but I don't think it's going to do huge. Civil War is kind of the big one, but that's also an A24 film, and generally those aren't really like huge hits. So, but in terms of like what they're kind of going for with the audience, I mean, the next big like competitive movie is really just going to be The Fall Guy in terms of something like fun, action heavy, like entertaining stuff that'll kind of fit to like wider audiences. I think it's going to be that because we have this Guy Ritchie movie right here. What is this, rated R? I don't know, but Guy Ritchie movies are kind of all over the place in terms of like box office stuff. I think it's Guy Ritchie, but I mean that movie looks pretty fun. I'm actually looking forward to seeing that thing. But like I said, GXK doesn't have much in terms of competition, so it might win the weekend again. It depends on how it holds going from last weekend or this previous weekend till the next, but. I think it has a good sign to like three-peat at the box office, but Civil War is definitely going to come pretty close. But I'm not sure how Civil War is going to play out because, like I said, A24 films. This is R-rated. It's A24. You don't really know how it's going to pan out, and maybe people don't really want to see a very divisive movie, especially in very divisive times, just to kind of be reminded of that. Maybe they just want fun escapism, but only time will tell. But the fact is, like I said, once Godzilla Kong passes that $400 million, which will be in the next coming days, if you will, I feel like it's inevitable that sequel gets greenlit. Like I said, smallest budget of the Monsterverse films, which I still don't know how, and having potentially the highest grossing film, like in terms of return on investment, I think it should do well. And plus, like I said, that's not counting other factors in like merchandise or other tie-in materials and stuff. I think, like I said, the Monsterverse is in pretty good shape right now. We're most likely going to get an announcement for a sequel very soon, and Wingard coming back, I'm sure, because he's already talked about the next film being more Godzilla focused, but only time will tell. But anyways, like I said, just kind of want to talk about this really quickly. And what do you all think? You excited for it? Where do you think the Monsterverse will go from here? All that other stuff. When this thing hits like past King of the Monsters, I'm sure I'll do another related video. But like I said, I like box office stuff. I like watching videos on it, and I just kind of felt like talking about it. No big detailed numeric chart or anything like that, but I think it's cool that the movie's doing well. So, but all right, well, that's all I have to say. What do you all think of this? Post your comments down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, bell for notifications, all that fun stuff. And I will see you all in the next video. Peace out.